Welcome back to the deep dive. I'm really super glad you are here with us today because we are doing something, well, it's very special.
Quite special, yes. Good to be here.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like a magic trick, honestly, and maybe a little bit like a survival course. We're taking this stack of linguistic concepts, specifically from our source material on English grammar for absolute beginners, and we're going to build a completely new way for you to look at the future.
It is a survival course in a way. I mean, it is about social survival. It is about protecting your reputation when you speak.
Exactly. We're talking about uncertainty. We're talking about how to operate in a world where you just, you don't know the answer and how to say that without sounding incompetent. We are looking at the mechanics of the concept of maybe. But more than that, we're looking at the architecture of how we guess.
Right. And to really appreciate this, we have to look at where most learners start. If you look at the source material or just the standard journey of learning a language, you begin in what I call the world of facts.
The world of facts. That sounds like a very rigid place to live.
It is rigid. It is entirely binary. It is black and white. Think about the very first sentences you learn in any language, but especially English. I am hungry. He's tall. I went to the store.
Right, the book is read. It's
Yeah.
all 100% true or 0% true.
Precisely. I will call you is a promise. I didn't call you is a historical record. There is no gray area in the world of facts.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's safe when you're just starting out, but it's totally artificial. Because consider your actual life. How often, truly, are you 100% sure of the outcome of anything?
Almost never.
Almost never. I mean, I look out the window right now and the sky is gray. If I say it will rain and then the sun comes out in 10 minutes, I look foolish. I've staked my reputation on a fact that wasn't a fact at all.
And that is the exact danger. If you use the language of certainty, words like will or is, when you are actually just guessing, you risk your credibility. In a business meeting, if you say the client will sign the contract and they don't, you are, or at best, wildly incompetent. So the mission of this deep dive today is to give you the tools of protection. We need to explore the modals of possibility.
Birds of protection. I love that phrasing from the notes. It's like putting on a helmet before you walk out the door. We are going to unpack 3 specific words today. Might, may, and could.
Yes, the core 3.
And we aren't just going to list the rules for you. We are going to look at the logic, the psychological distance these words create, and the specific traps that the source material warns us about.
The agenda is crucial here as we are speaking directly to you, the absolute beginner. We are going to move from the philosophy of the 50-50 guess to the strict grammar mechanics, because English is very particular here, then to the negative trap, which is where the logic completely flips.
And finally, we're going to put it into your muscles with a drill. But before we get into the grammar, let's talk about the mindset. Why is this so hard for learners? I feel like I hear even advanced speakers still stumbling over saying, maybe I will versus I might.
It is hard because maybe is an adverb. It sits outside the sentence. You can just throw it at the beginning of a thought. Maybe I go.
Right, it's easy. Just staple it to the front.
Exactly. But might and may are modal verbs. They change the engine of the sentence. They modify the verb itself. It requires a fundamental shift in how you construct the thought.
Okay, so let's start with the meat of it. 50-50 guess. We have these 2 words that seem to be everywhere, might and may. In the source material, these are presented as the primary tools.
They are the standard bearers. And the first thing to understand, and this is the nugget that allows you to relax, is that in the context of possibility, they are functionally identical.
Identical, really, because I feel like there's a myth out there. I hear people say, oh, may is for when it's more likely, or might is for when it's less likely.
Nonsense.
Or that may is just for writing formal letters to the queen.
That is a classic classroom myth. It is folklore. In modern English, specifically when we were talking about future possibility, the statistical probability is exactly the same. It is the equation of the coin flip. 50% yes, 50% no.
So if someone asks, hey, where is John? And I'm not tracking him on a GPS, I'm just guessing based on his normal habits.
You say, he might be at home, or you say, he may be at home. The meaning does not shift. You are signaling to the listener that you are confident enough to guess, but you are not certain enough to promise.
That makes so much sense. Let's look at another context. Plans. This is huge for anyone trying to organize their life. If someone asks me what my plans are for tomorrow and I haven't decided yet...
You cannot say, I will go to the beach. That is a contract. Will is a predictive fact. You must say, I may go to the beach.
Or I might go to the beach.
Precisely. It signals undecided plans. Now, this seems easy conceptually, but we need to unpack the grammar rule here. The source material highlights some very specific negative constraints.
Negative constraints, meaning things you must absolutely never do.
Correct. This is where the S-trap lives.
Oh, the S-trap. I know this one. In English, we are trained like Pavlov's dogs to add an S to verbs. He likes, she wants, it rains.
Exactly. It is the third-person singular rule. It is drilled into you from day one. So a learner's instinct, when they see the word he and the word might, is to marry them with an S. They desperately want to say he mights.
Which sounds like fingernails on a chalkboard to a native speaker.
It truly does. It sounds broken. But logically, you can see why the learner does it. They are following the pattern they were taught. You have to break the pattern. Modals are what we call defective verbs. They do not change. They never take an S.
So it is always he might, she might, it might, never mights.
And it goes deeper. The verb following the modal must also be stripped bare.
Naked verbs.
Essentially, yes. We call it the base verb or the bare infinitive, but think of it as the verb in its simplest, most factory-setting form. No to, no ing, no ed, and definitely no s.
So if I want to say he might go, I absolutely cannot say he might goes.
Never. He might goes is a double error. He might going is wrong. He might to go is wrong. It is simply he might go.
That second trap you just mentioned, the word to, that's a really sticky one too.
Right.
Because we constantly say, I want to go, I need to go, I have to go. The word to is the glue that holds English together half the time.
It is the most common connector, yes. But modals are strong verbs. They are independent. They do not need the connector to. They connect directly to the action. I might go. I may eat. It might rain.
It's actually cleaner. It's fewer words. It's just more efficient.
It is efficient, but you have to fight your muscle memory. The brain wants to put to in there because it sounds rhythmic. You have to learn to trust the direct connection.
All right, let's try to lock this in with a repetition loop. I want to use the technique from our source material right now. We call it the silence fill. I will say the target sentence clearly, then I will leave a silence. I want you, the listener, to say it out loud.
Do not just think it. Your mouth muscles need to feel the grammar.
Connection, not perfection. Just say it. Here's the first one. The context is you are guessing where John is. Listen to the verb be. He might be at home. Now your turn.
Say it out loud.
He might be at home.
Did you catch that? The word be is the base verb. Not is, not are. We don't say he might is at home. We say he might be.
Good. Let's try the second one. The context is undecided plans for the beach. Listen for the lack of the word to. I may go to the beach. Your turn.
Speak into the silence.
I may go to the beach.
Good. Just may go. No to.
Okay, so we have the twins, might and may. They're 50-50. They're grammatically strict. But the source material introduces a third player, the alternative.
The word could.
Could. Now, this is a fascinating word because it is a total shapeshifter. I feel like could causes more confusion than any other modal because it seems to exist in two timelines at once.
It does indeed. Historically and technically speaking, could is the past tense of can.
Right. I could swim today, but I could swim when I was 5. That's just ability in the past.
Exactly. But, and here is where English gets rather interesting, we repurpose this past tense form to talk about the future.
Wait, how does using a past tense word help us talk about the future? That seems really counterintuitive.
It is about the concept of remoteness. Think about it this way. The past is distant from the present, right? It is far away in time.
Sure, it's behind us.
When we use could for the future, we are borrowing that distance. We are creating a distance between us and the reality. I can go is very close, very real, very direct. I could go feels softer, more distant, more theoretical.
Oh, I really like that. So by using the past form, I'm mentally stepping back.
You are stepping back. You are making it a possibility rather than a hard fact. This is why asking, could you help me, is more polite than asking, can you help me? It is less direct. It gives the other person space.
That is a deep insight. It's not just a random rule. There's an actual psychological reason for it. So when we use could in this context, predicting the future or guessing, does it still mean 50-50?
In a positive sentence, yes. The source material calls them brothers. Might, may, and could. In a positive statement, they are entirely swappable.
So if I say, we could order pizza, I'm saying it's an option.
You are saying the potential exists. It is on the menu. We have the phone. The pizza place is open. We could order pizza. It is a valid 50-50 possibility.
And if I say, it could be dangerous?
You are acknowledging the possibility of danger. It is 50-50. Maybe it is safe, maybe it is not, but the danger is a real option.
So effectively, it might rain is the exact same thing as it could rain.
Correct. The equivalence rule applies here. It might rain, it may rain, it could rain. You can use any of them to protect yourself.
Okay, so far this feels very safe. We have 3 words. They all work together. They all protect us from being wrong. But I know, looking at our expert notes here, that there's a big warning coming.
There is a massive trap, a chasm, really. And this is why we have to be so incredibly careful with could. The moment we step into the negative, the moment we add the word not, the brotherhood breaks.
This is the negative trap.
It is, and it is the enemy of the beginner. It is where severe communication breakdowns happen.
Let's break down the safe zone first. If I want to say, maybe not. If I want to keep that 50-50 chance, but in the negative. Like, I'm not sure if I'll go.
You stick to might and may. Might not and may not. These retain the 50-50 meaning perfectly.
So I might not go to the party.
That means maybe I will go, maybe I won't. I am undecided. It is still a guess. You are holding the invitation in your hand, looking at it, unsure.
But what happens if I say I couldn't go? Or that couldn't be true?
This is the pivot point. Couldn't or could not does not mean 50%. It drops straight to 0%.
0.
Absolute zero. It means impossible.
That is a massive difference. If I say I might not go, I'm just thinking about it. If I say I couldn't go, it implies I was physically unable.
Exactly. Let's use a detective analogy. Imagine you are Sherlock Holmes. You are looking at a suspect. You say, it might not be him. That means you have doubts, but it is still possible.
But if you find proof that the suspect was in prison at the exact time of the crime,
Then you say, it couldn't be him. It is physically impossible. The logic dictates that there is a 0% chance. The source material uses a very powerful metaphor here. Couldn't means being locked in a room with no escape.
that really paints the picture. Might not is an open door. You might walk through, you might not. Couldn't is the locked door.
Precisely. And this is where learners get into real trouble socially. They want to be polite. They want to say to a host, oh, I am not sure. I couldn't come to your party.
Ooh, yeah, I hear that. And to a native ear, that sounds super confusing.
It sounds incredibly dramatic. I couldn't come. Sounds like I was prevented from coming by a force of nature. Or I was in the hospital. If you just mean you are undecided or you don't feel like it, you must use might not.
So I might not come is the polite choice. I couldn't come is the impossibility.
We need to make sure this sticks. Let's do a quick comparison. I will give you a context. You tell me if it is 50% or 0%.
Okay, ship me.
It might not rain today.
50%. Keep the umbrella handy, but maybe we don't need it.
A pig couldn't fly.
0%. Unless we were talking about cartoons, that is physically impossible.
I may not have time.
50%, I'm busy, but I might squeeze it in.
He couldn't lift the car.
0%, it's way too heavy.
You see the pattern. Might not and may not are choices or guesses. Couldn't is a law of physics or a hard fact.
This is the kind of nuance that really separates a beginner from an intermediate learner. Using couldn't correctly makes you sound so much more authoritative. It shows you understand the limits of reality versus the limits of your own knowledge.
It certainly does.
Okay, we have the logic, we have the grammar rules, no S, no to. We have the positive equivalents, might, may, could are brothers. And we have the negative trap could leaves the family and becomes impossible. Now, we need to put this into our muscles.
It is time for the drill.
Yes, we're going to use the 3-second rule here. This is something we talk about a lot on the deep dive. When we ask you a question or give you a prompt, you have exactly 3 seconds to speak.
Why 3 seconds? Because if you wait longer, your brain starts to overanalyze. You start to conjugate tables in your head. You start to worry about perfection. We want connection. We want you to speak before the silence ends.
I'll set the scene. I will tell you the context, then our expert will tell you which word to use, then you will hear a pause. You have to fill that pause. Then we will say the correct answer.
And remember, speak out loud. If you are on the train, whisper it. If you are in the car, shout it. But you must articulate the sounds. You cannot learn to speak by just listening. You learn to speak by speaking.
Let's start with scenario 1, the weather.
Situation. The sky is very dark, clouds are gathering, but you are not a meteorologist. You are guessing. What is the 50-50 chance? I want you to use the word might. Speak now.
The answer is, it might rain.
Did you get the structure? Subjective, modal might, base verb rain. It might rain.
Let's try scenario 2, lost items. This happens to me literally all the time.
Situation. You do not know where your keys are. You are guessing. You think about the car. I want you to use might be. Speak now.
The answer is, they might be in the car.
Notice the plural, they for keys, but might does not change. And we use be because the location is a state of being. They might be in the car.
Moving on to scenario 3. We're going to practice the negative. Remember the safety zone we talked about.
Situation. You are feeling tired. You are only 50% sure you will go to the gym. In fact, you think you will skip it entirely. I want you to use might not. Speak now.
The answer is, I might not go to the gym.
This is the classic undecided sentence. You haven't made a final decision, but the leaning is towards no. I might not go.
Now, scenario 4. The impossible. We need to use the strong word, the locked door.
Situation. Someone tells you that the sun is rising in the west. You know this is scientifically impossible. Tell them it is 0% possible. I want you to use couldn't. Speak now.
The answer is, that couldn't be true.
Or it couldn't happen. The key is the conviction. It is impossible.
Let's do a few more just to really drive this home. The source material gave us those 4, but let's expand using the logic we've learned. Let's try one with could in the positive.
Good idea. Situation. You are looking at a menu. There is a burger option. It is a possibility for dinner. I want you to use could. Speak now.
The answer is, we could eat a burger, or I could have the burger.
It signals an option. It is polite. It is tentative.
How about one with may? We haven't used may in the drill yet.
Situation. Your boss asks if you are coming to the meeting. You are busy, so you are not sure. You want to sound professional. I want you to use may. Speak now.
The answer is, I may come to the meeting.
Or I may be at the meeting. Again, it protects you. If you do not show up, you didn't lie. You clearly said may.
That is the real power of these words. They give you flexibility.
And that is exactly why we call them words of protection.
So we've covered a lot of ground here today. We've gone from the anxiety of being wrong in the world of facts to having a toolkit that lets us navigate the unknown safely.
It is about comfort with uncertainty. You do not need to know everything. You simply need the language to describe what you do not know.
But before we wrap up, I want to address one more thing. We talked about could being the past tense of can, and we talked about using it for the future. Is there ever a time where could actually just refers to the past?
The ability context. Yes, this is very important to distinguish so you don't get confused out there. If I say, when I was young, I could run a mile in 5 minutes.
That's not a guess at all.
No, that is a fact about past ability. It is the past tense of I can run.
So context is really king here.
Context is always king. If there is a time marker, like when I was young, last year, or yesterday, then could usually refers to ability. If the context is future, tomorrow, next week, or just a general guess, then refers to possibility.
That's a great rule of thumb. Just look for the time marker.
Exactly.
Okay, we need to assign the homework. We always like to give you something to take into the real world. You can't just listen to this deep dive and hope it miraculously sticks. You have to actually use it.
This is a non-negotiable task. It is a speaking task.
What's the assignment?
Look at your plans for tomorrow, not the things you must do, like going to work or waking up. Find one thing you are unsure about. Maybe it is what you will have for lunch. Maybe it is whether you will call a friend. Maybe it's what you will wear.
Okay, got it.
Find that one thing and say out loud, I might, and finish the sentence.
So I might have sushi, or I might wear the blue shirt.
Exactly. Say it out loud. Acknowledge the uncertainty. Own it.
I love that. It turns a simple lack of planning into a daily grammar exercise.
It does. And it builds the necessary neural pathway for that structure. Subject, might, bear verb.
Now, looking ahead, we've talked a lot about possibility. We've talked about maybe yes, maybe no. But there is another layer to this logic.
There is. We know how to talk about what might happen. But what if one event depends entirely on another? What if I tell you, if you study, then you will pass?
The dependency, cause and effect.
That is the condition. And that is exactly where we are going next.
That sounds like a whole new set of rules to learn.
It is. It's a mathematical structure in language. But for now, you are safe. You can make guesses without making false promises.
Thanks for diving in with us today. Good luck with your homework. Remember, don't let the fear of being wrong stop you from speaking. Use your shield. Use might.
Indeed. Until next time.
Wait, before we fully sign off, I just want to circle back to one thing you mentioned earlier, the idea of could being a shapeshifter. I feel like we can squeeze a little more juice out of that for the listeners who really want to master the nuance.
A bonus round. I am always amenable to a bonus round.
You mentioned could is the past tense of can. I think that confuses people when we suddenly say, hey, use it for the future. Can we clarify that timeline again?
That is a very astute point. Could technically sits in the past tense bucket. When I was young, I could run fast. That is ability in the past, but English is a flexible beast. We repurpose this past tense form to create a softer version of the present.
Softer how?
Well, can is hard. I can do it. It is direct. Could is softer, more tentative. That is why it works for possibility. It distances the speaker from the certainty of the action.
That makes perfect sense. It's like stepping back a little bit. I can go is very strong. I could go feels like I'm looking at the idea from a distance.
Precisely. The distance in time, the past tense, becomes a distance in reality possibility. It is a very common pattern in English. We use past forms to be polite or uncertain.
That is a really deep insight. It's not just a random grammar rule. There's a whole psychological reason for it.
Language always mirrors psychology. We use might and may and could because we are social creatures who do not want to be wrong and do not want to offend anyone.
So true. Okay, I just wanted to get that last little bit of clarity in there.
It is a valuable addition.
All right, now we really are done. Do your homework. Say I might regarding your lunch tomorrow.
And prepare yourself for the condition.
See you in the next deep dive.